When a wealthy businessman's luxury car breaks down, a brilliant black mechanic comes to his rescue. But the real surprise is the priceless connection hidden in the ring on her finger. Before we go any further, comment where in the world you are watching from, and make sure to subscribe because tomorrow's story is one you don't want to miss. The sleek silver Bentley Continental is pulled over on the shoulder of a quiet suburban road. Steam rises from under the hood, billowing into the crisp morning air. James Harrison, a 45-year-old white man dressed in an expensive tailored suit that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent, paces anxiously beside the car. His Italian leather shoes kick up small clouds of dust as he holds his phone to his ear, his face reddening with each passing second. "What do you mean there's a 2-hour wait? Do you know who I am?" James barks into the phone. "I've got a meeting in 30 minutes that I absolutely cannot miss. This is completely unacceptable." He hangs up angrily, muttering curses under his breath. As he kicks at the gravel on the roadside, the hood of his luxury car is propped open as he stares helplessly at the engine. Despite his wealth and status, James feels completely powerless in this moment. $70,000 car and it breaks down like some cheap piece of junk, he grumbles to himself, checking his platinum watch for the 10th time in as many minutes. A modest Honda Civic slows down and pulls over about 20 feet ahead. Maya Johnson, a 38-year-old black woman wearing casual but professional attire, dark jeans, a simple blouse, and a light jacket, steps out and approaches cautiously. Her natural hair is pulled back in a neat bun, and she carries herself with quiet confidence. "Excuse me," she calls out. "Looks like you're having some trouble. Need any help?" James looks up, initially dismissive, his eyes quickly assessing Maya and her modest car. His lips curl slightly in a barely concealed sneer. "Unless you've got a tow truck hidden in that Civic, I doubt it," he replies, his tone dripping with condescension. Maya stands her ground, completely unfazed by his attitude. She's encountered men like him before, men who judge based on appearances and assume competence correlates with wealth. "Actually, I'm a mechanical engineer," she says matter-of-factly. "I might be able to diagnose the problem at least." James scoffs but gestures toward the car in a be-my-guest motion. "By all means, the roadside assistance people said it'll be 2 hours before they can get here," he says, stepping back slightly. Maya approaches the car confidently, sets her purse down on the ground, and begins examining the engine. Her hands move expertly around the components, touching, feeling, assessing. James watches with a mixture of skepticism and growing curiosity. Looks like your coolant line has a rupture." "That's why you're overheating," she explains, pointing to a specific area in the engine compartment. She rolls up her sleeves, revealing a simple but elegant silver bracelet on her wrist. As she leans in to get a better look, the sunlight catches on a modest but unusual ring on her finger. It appears old, with an intricate design featuring intertwined metals and small gemstones that seem strangely familiar to James. "So can it be fixed, or am I still stuck here?" James asks, his tone softening slightly as he watches her competent assessment. "I might have a temporary solution that can get you to your meeting," Maya replies with a confident smile. There's no boasting in her tone, just the quiet assurance of someone who knows exactly what they're doing. Maya walks back to her car and returns with a small toolkit and a water bottle. "I always keep emergency supplies in my car. Years of experience have taught me to be prepared," she explains. James watches as Maya works, her movements precise and practiced. She carefully cuts a piece of rubber hose from her kit and uses it to bypass the ruptured section of the coolant line. With deft hands, she secures it using clamps from her toolkit. "This is just a temporary fix," she explains while working. "It should hold long enough to get you to your meeting, but you'll need to have it properly repaired afterward. Don't drive it too far like this." James is quiet now, humbled by her expertise. "I'm impressed," he admits. "Where did you learn to do this?" Maya smiles as she continues working. My father owned a garage when I was growing up. I spent most weekends and summers there, learning everything I could. Now I design engine systems for Hayes Automotive. James's eyebrows shoot up in surprise. Hayes Automotive? The company revolutionizing electric engine designs? That's the one, Maya says, wiping her hands on a rag from her toolkit. I head their R&D department. James is visibly stunned. Wait, you're Maya Johnson? The Maya Johnson? I've read about your innovations in sustainable engine design. Your work on the regenerative braking system it's incredible. Maya looks up, surprised that he recognizes her name. Yes, that's me. Though most people don't connect the name to the face unless they're in the industry. I'm in clean energy investment, James explains, his entire demeanor transformed. I've been following Hayes Automotive for years. Your patents have completely changed the game. As Maya pours water into the radiator to replace the lost coolant, James notices the ring on her finger again. This time, he recognizes the unique pattern. That ring, he begins, his voice suddenly hesitant. Is that a cladded design with African adinkra symbols incorporated? Maya pauses, looking down at her hand. Yes, it is. It was my grandmother's. How did you know that? James's face softens completely, emotion rising to his eyes. My wife had one just like it. She passed away 5 years ago. Caroline Harrison. She worked with a community outreach program in Ghana. Maya's eyes widen in recognition. Caroline Harrison. You're James Harrison? Her voice grows quiet with emotion. Your wife saved my grandmother's village. She helped establish the clean water system that prevented an epidemic. My grandmother gave her that ring as a thank you. James nods, tears forming in his eyes. Caroline treasured that ring. She wore it every day until... His voice breaks slightly. Until she got too sick. She always said it reminded her of why her work mattered. My grandmother passed away last year, Maya says softly. She made this replica for me before she died. She always told stories about the kind American woman who helped save so many lives. They stand in silence for a moment, connected by an unexpected thread of shared history. I've been continuing Caroline's work, James says finally. After she died, I redirected most of my investments into clean energy and community development projects. It's why I was rushing to this meeting. We're funding a new sustainable housing project in West Africa. Maya closes the hood of the Bentley with a satisfying thunk, the sound of competence and completion. She wipes her hands methodically on the blue shop rag she always keeps in her toolkit, the fabric now stained with the evidence of her expertise. The morning sun has risen higher in the sky, casting shorter shadows across the roadside and warming the air around them. A light breeze carries the scent of nearby flowering trees, a stark contrast to the earlier smell of burning coolant and James's anxiety. Maya's fingers are slightly grimy from the work, but her eyes shine with the satisfaction of a problem solved. The temporary fix she's engineered isn't pretty, emergency repairs rarely are, but it embodies the practical ingenuity that has defined her career. You should be good to go now, she says, folding the rag carefully before tucking it back into her toolkit. It'll get you to your meeting, but make sure to have it properly repaired afterward. This bypass won't hold forever, and you'll want to keep an eye on the temperature gauge. If it starts climbing into the red zone again, pull over immediately. There's a natural authority in her voice, not demanding respect, but simply assuming it. The voice of someone who has spent a lifetime proving herself in rooms where she was often the only woman, the only black person, or both. James looks down at his platinum watch, a gift from his board of directors after his company's IPO 5 years ago, and then back at Maya. The hands indicate he still has 15 minutes before he absolutely must leave to make his meeting on time. The aggressive, dismissive businessman from 20 minutes ago has vanished completely, replaced by a thoughtful man with slightly reddened eyes and a posture that carries the weight of meaningful memories. He runs a hand through his salt and pepper hair, a gesture of decision-making that his colleagues would instantly recognize. "The meeting," he begins, his voice carrying a note of revelation as if he's just had an epiphany. "It's actually with potential engineering partners for integrated solar solutions for our housing projects. We're looking to incorporate cutting-edge renewable energy systems that can operate efficiently in rural African environments." He pauses, studying Maya's face with new consideration. "Given what just happened here and who you are," his voice trails off momentarily as he formulates his thoughts. "Would you consider coming with me? Your expertise would be invaluable, and I think it might be more than coincidence that we met today." The invitation hangs in the air between them, unexpected and potentially life-changing. Maya's grandmother had always spoken about divine appointments, meetings, that seemed accidental but carried purpose beyond human orchestration. The ring on her finger suddenly feels warmer, as if responding to the moment's significance. Maya hesitates, but not from uncertainty about her qualifications or worth. Her hesitation stems from the practical considerations of her already scheduled day. Meetings with suppliers, a video conference with the testing facility in Michigan, lunch with her mentee from the Women in STEM program she volunteers with. Success in her field has required meticulous planning and organization, qualities reflected in everything from her orderly toolkit to her precisely structured workdays. "Let me make a quick call to reschedule my morning appointments," she says, already reaching for her phone. She walks a few steps away for privacy, her footsteps crunching lightly on the gravel shoulder of the road. From a distance, James watches, her gesturing occasionally as she speaks, noticing the natural leadership in her posture even during a simple phone call. Maya is clearly someone accustomed to directing situations rather than being directed by them. After several minutes, Maya returns with a smile that transforms her professional demeanor into something warmer, more personal. "I'd be honored to join you," she says. "My team can handle this morning's supplier meeting, and I've rescheduled my mentoring lunch for tomorrow." James's face brightens with genuine appreciation, the kind rarely seen in boardroom negotiations. "Excellent," he says, extending his hand. When Maya takes it, their handshake is firm and equal, a partnership rather than a power dynamic. "I can already tell the Sahel Housing Initiative is going to benefit enormously from your input." As they prepare to leave, James returning to his temporarily repaired Bentley and Maya walking back toward her practical Honda Civic, James calls out across the short distance between them. "Thank you, Maya," he says, his voice carrying a depth of sincerity that catches her attention. "Not just for fixing my car, but for reminding me why all this matters." The statement hangs meaningfully in the air. They both understand he's not talking about the meeting or even the housing initiative, but something more profound, the unexpected human connections that give purpose to professional achievements, the way Caroline's legacy continues to ripple outward in ways neither of them could have predicted. Maya smiles warmly, the morning sunlight highlighting the rich tones of her skin and the intelligence in her eyes. "Sometimes the universe has a way of bringing the right people together at the right time," she replies. "Caroline's work continues, through both of us." She holds up her hand, the unique ring catching the light, a physical embodiment of their unexpected connection. They exchange contact information with a promise to meet at James's office in 20 minutes, giving Maya time to stop briefly at her apartment to change into more formal attire appropriate for an executive meeting. As she pulls away in her Civic, following the sleek lines of James's Bentley, Maya glances at her grandmother's ring. For a moment she could swear the metals shift in the sunlight, the pattern seeming to smile up at her. The drive to Maya's apartment takes her through familiar neighborhoods that suddenly look different, as if the morning's unexpected encounter has cast everything in a new light. She navigates the streets on autopilot, her mind racing with thoughts about the upcoming meeting and the strange coincidence, or fate, that led her to stop for a stranded motorist who turned out to be connected to her family's history in such a profound way. Maya's apartment reflects her personality, practical, organized, with carefully chosen artistic elements that speak to her heritage. African textile patterns adorn select throw pillows, while engineering awards and framed patents line one wall of her home office. She moves efficiently through her morning routine, changing into a tailored charcoal suit with a deep purple blouse that her friends insist brings out the warmth in her eyes. As she fastens a simple silver necklace, another of her grandmother's pieces, Maya catches her reflection in the mirror and takes a deep breath. "This is unexpected, Grandma," she whispers to the empty room, "but it feels right." Meanwhile, James arrives at his office building, a gleaming structure of glass and steel in the city's financial district. His assistant, Rachel, 31, Asian American, immaculately dressed, rushes to meet him as he strides through the executive entrance. "Mr. Harrison, I was getting worried," Rachel says, falling into step beside him. "The Meridian Group is already in the conference room. I've provided coffee and those Danish pastries from Bergman's Bakery that you like." "Thank you, Rachel," James replies, his tone different from his usual pre-meeting brusqueness. "We'll be joined shortly by Dr. Maya Johnson from Hayes Automotive. When she arrives, please bring her directly to the conference room and make sure there's an additional information packet for her." Rachel raises an eyebrow slightly but nods professionally. "Dr. Johnson from Hayes? I didn't realize they were part of the solar initiative." "They weren't," James says with a small smile, "until about 30 minutes ago. Sometimes the best partnerships form in the most unexpected places." He doesn't elaborate further, leaving Rachel curious as he continues toward his office to prepare for the meeting. In his expansive corner office, James pauses at a silver-framed photograph on his desk, Caroline smiling broadly, her arm around a young African girl, both standing before a newly constructed well. He touches the frame gently, a ritual he performs before every important meeting. "You'd like her, Caroline," he says softly. "She has your spirit." When Maya arrives at the building, she's impressed but not intimidated by its grandeur. She's navigated spaces like this throughout her career, each time carrying with her the lessons of her father's garage. That true value lies in what you can create and fix, not in appearances. The security desk already has her name on the visitor list, and she's escorted directly to the executive floor where Rachel waits to greet her. "Dr. Johnson, welcome to Harrison Sustainable Ventures," Rachel says, offering a professional handshake. "Mr. Harrison mentioned you'd be joining today's meeting. The team is assembled in the main conference room." As they walk down the corridor, Maya notes the tasteful artwork adorning the walls, not the typical corporate selections, but photographs documenting community development projects around the world. Clean water systems in Ghana, solar installations in Ethiopia, sustainable agriculture projects in Rwanda. Each image includes community members prominently, not as recipients of charity, but as partners in progress. When Maya enters the conference room, she finds James already engaged in conversation with 4 other people seated around a massive table crafted from reclaimed wood. He looks up immediately, his face brightening at her arrival. "Dr. Johnson, perfect timing," he says, crossing the room to welcome her. "Gentlemen, we have an unexpected but incredibly fortunate addition to our meeting today." He introduces Maya to the Meridian Group representatives, emphasizing her credentials and innovative work in sustainable engineering. Victor Mendez, 52, Hispanic, founder of Meridian, seems particularly impressed. Dr. Johnson's regenerative braking system was a game-changer for electric vehicle efficiency. If you're bringing that kind of innovation to the Sahel project, we're definitely interested. The meeting proceeds with a detailed presentation about the housing initiative, an ambitious plan to create affordable, sustainable housing in drought-prone regions of West Africa. As the discussion unfolds, Maya's expertise becomes increasingly valuable, offering practical solutions to engineering challenges the team had been struggling with for months. The key issue isn't just generating enough solar power, Maya explains, sketching a quick diagram on a notepad. It's storing it efficiently for nighttime use and having backup systems that can operate during dust storms and seasonal changes. At Hayes, we've been developing flexible battery technologies specifically designed for extreme climate conditions. 4 hours later, what was supposed to be a brief introductory meeting has evolved into an intensive planning session. The Meridian. Group representatives are clearly impressed, and James watches with quiet satisfaction as Maya's innovative approaches solve problem after problem. When the meeting finally concludes, Victor shakes Maya's hand warmly. Dr. Johnson, would Hayes consider a formal partnership on this project? Your insights today have already advanced our timeline significantly. Maya glances at James, who nods encouragingly. I think that's definitely a conversation worth having. She replies. I'd need to discuss it with my team, but personally, I'm very interested. After the Meridian representatives depart, James and Maya remain in the conference room, surrounded by the remnants of their productive session. Diagrams, spreadsheets, empty coffee cups, and the energy of possibility. That went even better than I could have hoped, James says, loosening his tie slightly. They've been hesitant for months, but your input changed everything. Maya smiles, gathering her notes. It's a remarkable project, and honestly, integrating our battery technology with your housing design solves problems for both our companies. James hesitates before speaking again, choosing his words carefully. Maya, I have to ask, do you believe in fate? In things happening for a reason? Maya touches her grandmother's ring reflexively. I believe in being open to unexpected opportunities. My grandmother would have called what happened today a divine appointment. James nods thoughtfully. Caroline used that exact phrase. She believed her work was guided by something larger than herself. He pauses, then continues with newfound purpose. Would you consider having dinner tonight? Not just to discuss the project, but because I think Caroline would have wanted us to know each other. She always said connections between people were the true foundation of any sustainable change. Maya considers the invitation, the significance of this unlikely meeting, and the ring that seems to have brought them together. I'd like that, she says finally. I think Grandma and Caroline would approve. As they leave the conference room together, walking side by side down the corridor lined with images of communities transformed, neither could have predicted how this chance roadside encounter would grow into one of the most significant partnerships in sustainable development history. Over the coming years, their collaboration would bring renewable energy solutions to regions previously considered impossible to serve, creating self-sustaining communities with reduced environmental impact. The car breakdown that brought them together would become a favorite anecdote at fundraising galas and engineering conferences. The millionaire with the broken Bentley and the engineer with her grandmother's ring, two seemingly different paths converging at precisely the right moment. Their story would inspire others to look beyond first impressions and recognize the potential in unexpected connections. But on this day, as they step into the elevator together, they are simply two people discovering common ground in their commitment to continuing the work of someone they both admired. A woman whose spirit somehow seemed present in the unusual ring that had caught the morning sunlight and changed the course of both their lives. As the elevator doors close, the building's security camera captures their image, James gesturing animatedly as he describes a vision for the project, Maya nodding thoughtfully, her hands moving to illustrate an engineering concept. The camera can't capture the invisible threads connecting them, threads woven through time and continents, through loss and purpose, through a ring passed from a grateful grandmother to a woman who changed lives, and now to the hands building a new future. And somewhere, perhaps, Caroline smiles.